Welcome to Action Hound Media, the site and channel all about action. Life's boring. Get some more action into your life. Let's do something a little different today. I know there's a lot of people out there that are into horror, right? I know there's horror fans out there. So let's get some horror this week. I'm going to read you a horror story called Bad Luck Comes in Threes. Here we go. Must death always come on a night with a full moon? My parents died on a night with a full moon when I was 10. My foster parents died on a night when the moon was full when I was 13. Mr. Sweeney died on such a night, and the moon was smiling full of yellow glee and all its dimples and twinkles shining down on me. Mr. Sweeney was a pleasant octogenarian with a penchant for the unusual. He was nice enough to hire me, a young fellow a quarter of his age, to help him grocery shop, fix broken appliances, and clean his buttocks when his rheumatism was acting up. He said that he would show me his prized possession locked up in the basement when the time was right. The key to the basement hung on his neck where no one could touch it. No one would dare try to take the key off of Mr. Sweeney, since he did have a temper. Once I saw him kick Mr. Bojangles clear across the living room after almost tripping over the poor cat. The way Mr. Bojangles flew through the air and landed perfectly into the fireplace was an impressive sight. Unfortunately, a fire was burning at the time, and Mr. Bojangles became a flaming, dancing delight. I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Sweeney played soccer in his youth. The key on Mr. Sweeney's neck was a skeleton key. It's a magical key that doesn't only open doors, but opens worlds. I always dreamed of possessing the key, but not to open worlds, just the basement door. But Mr. Sweeney would not let anyone touch his key. Over my dead body, he likened to say. One day after cleaning Mr. Sweeney's wrinkled rear end, he was nice enough to show me what was in the basement. I'm sick of my time on Earth and foresee it will soon be at an end. You must see what is below before I die, he said, then laughed as though a snare was waiting for me at the bottom of the step. Sometimes Mr. Sweeney could be mischievous. Mr. Sweeney led me to the basement door and opened it with a skeleton key. When the door opened, the basement emanated a strange glow in all the colors of the rainbow, then turned dim in the split of a second. He turned on the light, weakly illuminating the dim, creaky stairs. The basement was just a small room with dark greenish, moldy brick walls, hanging spider webs, and low-hanging pipes that leaked brownish water. In the center of the basement was a table with a golden statue the size of a small bird sitting on top. The statue's shine contrasted with the darkness of the walls, but was amazingly bright. It had the body of a man, but the head of a bird. This is Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom, time, writing, and the moon. It has the head of an ibis. Mr. Sweeney, this is some prized possession. It looks as though it could be worth millions of dollars. My dear boy, Marty, it is worth more than that. It has magical properties. It is said that one in possession of Thoth can attain everlasting life. Mr. Sweeney, are you telling me that you can live forever? Marty, everlasting life in this world sucks. I've seen greater worlds with the key, much greater than this one. If luck would have it, my time here will end. Then I could go see these other worlds. Yes, Mr. Sweeney, those other worlds must be great. You crazy old bastard. It is also said that if one takes possession of the statue of Thoth, one will be granted everlasting life if one could survive an evening of bad luck times 3. That sounds unbelievable. Bullshit, you old fart bag. After seeing the golden statue, I couldn't help but plan a scheme to steal it, but Mr. Sweeney presented the biggest obstacle. At once I called Francis, an old friend from Drewby. Francis was closer to a dimwit than a genius, but he had a car and he knew where to fence stolen goods. The plan is simple. I steal the key, I open the basement, and I take the statue. You wait for me, then we take off in your VW. Let's do it, Marty, Francis said, willing and ready. The night of the full moon, Francis waited outside Mr. Sweeney's house while I carried out the plan. Fortunately, Mr. Sweeney's rheumatism was acting up, so I'd have to clean his bottom just one more time. Marty, I need a hand. Coming, Mr. Sweeney. I happily headed for the bathroom, my revolver perched uncomfortably in the back of my waist. As usual, he was sitting on the toilet, bent over, waiting for the wipe. Keep still, Mr. Sweeney. I removed the revolver from my waist, cocked the gun, and shot Mr. Sweeney perfectly in the back of the head. Strangely, I heard him say, "Thank you." Not sure if it was before pulling the trigger or after. Naturally, I carefully removed the skeleton key necklace from his body, avoiding touching the blood dripping out of his head. I eagerly ran down to the basement door and opened it. The basement flashed in a kaleidoscope of color, then turned dim. The golden statue was on the table where I saw it last. I lifted it up, staring at its shining beauty. I remembered what Mr. Sweeney had said. One will be granted everlasting life if one could survive an evening of bad luck, times 3. A good murder and theft wouldn't be complete without arson. I lit his curtains on fire, hoping the entire house would be engulfed in flames shortly thereafter. Good old Francis started the VW as soon as he caught sight of me fleeing the burning house with the golden statue. "Step on it, Francis," I said to him once in the car, smiling with a shiny statue made of gold sitting in my lap. I placed the murder weapon under the seat. "Wait a minute, Marty," Francis said. "You need to get rid of that." "You mean the gun? I paid $300 for it. I'll take it with me. Don't you worry." Francis just shrugged and kept driving. After a long stretch of country road, a sudden loud boom shook me and made my nerves flare into a panic. The car swerved, just missing a tree, and crashed onto the sidewalk. We both looked at each other in shock. Francis pushed himself out of the vehicle to inspect the damage. "Damn! A blowout. Can you believe it, Marty? What a stroke of shitty luck. Let's fix it fast and get out of here. Where's the spare?" After fixing the flat, I feared 2 more episodes of bad luck could possibly happen. But if I survived it, I would live forever. "Okay then, bring on the bad luck, bitches." Francis buckled his seatbelt. He raced erratically further down the country road when suddenly flashing red and blue lights emanated from behind. "It's the cops," Francis screamed. "Hide the statue. Make sure the gun can't be seen." Okay, I said, putting the statue under a loose blanket at the floor of the back seat. I pushed the revolver further back under the seat with my heel. "It's the sheriff. He's no brighter than an imbecile. The old fool won't be suspicious if we play it cool." The old sheriff approached the car, his beard gut shifting from side to side. Francis rolled down the window. "Howdy, Francis. Can't go a month without seeing you." "Marty, you boys in a rush? You boys not drinking, are you?" "No, sir," we said simultaneously. Before he could ask another question, his walkie-talkie blurted out some unintelligible words. "You boys are lucky. I have to go on an emergency call. There's a fire a couple miles down the road." The sheriff jumped back in his squad car and sped off, heading straight for Mr. Sweeney's house. I couldn't count that as another episode of bad luck, or could I? Sure, it was bad luck to be pulled over by a cop, but nothing bad came out of it. I sighed, and Francis continued to drive away in our little getaway car. As we approached the railroad track crossing, the VW began to sputter. The old junk heap was usually very reliable, but the car simply conked out right in the middle of the train tracks. "You gotta be kidding," I said. "Did we run out of gas?" "I'm not sure. The gas gauge is broken." Clanking bell noises and flashing red lights flooded the inside of the car. The crossing gate closed behind us, just touching the bumper of the small VW. A blinding yellow light grew larger, heading for the driver's side of the car. I immediately evacuated the VW, but poor Francis wasn't so fortunate. "My seatbelt stuck. Save me, Marty." As much as I liked playing the hero, the golden statue was more of a priority to me. I reached into the back seat and snatched the beautiful statue from calamity. Poor Francis was kicking and screaming, but I had no time to help him. Besides, this way, I didn't have to split the profits. The train viciously slammed into the VW, obliterating it into twisted metal, broken plastic, loose rubber wheels, and pieces of Francis. Poor Francis reminded me of Mr. Bojangles, except without the flames. They both had similar dance moves before dying. That was definitely an episode of bad luck. Whenever a getaway car gets smashed by a speeding locomotive, one can only claim it as such. Strangely, the train sped away after destroying the VW and killing Francis. I stood by the debris in the dark, cherishing my new friend Thoth with the head of an ibis. To my astonishment, Mr. Sweeney materialized before me. His ghostly face was pale from the loss of blood which still dripped out of the back of his head. "Marty, you've been a terrible boy. You shot me in the head, stole my key, stole my statue, set my house on fire, and watched your good friend get hit by a train without lifting a finger to save him," the eerie bore said slowly, trying to instill fear into me. "Why, Mr. Sweeney, who cares what you say? You're dead." I lifted a finger, remembering certain words my former employer had said. "If I remember correctly, you had said that one will be granted everlasting life if one could survive an evening of bad luck times 3. I cleared my throat. "I believe I've succeeded in doing that," I said proudly. "Ah, Marty, but certainly you cannot be granted everlasting life if the second event was not bad luck. You were pulled over by a cop, but nothing bad came of it. That's a technicality, and you know it, Mr. Sweeney. Mr. Sweeney nodded in agreement. You are absolutely right, Marty. We can't count that one. Mr. Sweeney gave me his most devilish smile. But the night isn't over yet, is it, Marty? Before I could argue, Mr. Sweeney disappeared, gone forever to one of those worlds he was dying to go to. Once he was gone, flashing lights came toward me as I stood by the railroad tracks. The sheriff came back. Once his vehicle was parked, he strolled over to where I stood. He stared at my golden statue with great admiration, as though he knew its value. Then the sheriff surveyed the wreckage with his flashlight. The old sheriff looked up to the full moon with wonder. The full moon sure does bring out the worst in people. The sheriff smiled politely to me. I was just up the road at the Sweeney residence. Fortunately, the fire department was able to put out the fire in Mr. Sweeney's house. Unfortunately, we found Mr. Sweeney sitting on the toilet with a gunshot wound to the back of his head. The officer waved his arms over pieces of the destroyed VW lay all around. Then your friend and his VW have an unlucky meeting with a speeding train. Something on the ground caught the officer's eyes. He removed the pen from his jacket, walked to the object, and picked it up with the pen. The object was my revolver that was stashed under the seat. Luck would have it that a possible murder weapon lay right here in front of me. It's good luck for me. I could possibly solve the murder. It's bad luck for you if your fingerprints are on the gun. Need I say more? The gun was found to have my fingerprints on it, and I was sentenced to life during my trial. So here I am, serving life at Leavenworth, telling you my story. The gun was my third episode of bad luck. Even if it was the fourth, I still survived the evening, thus granting me the reward of everlasting life. Now, I'm an octogenarian, about Mr. Sweeney's age when I shot him in the back of the head. I will spend eternity in this lousy confinement that drives me into a miserable daily ritual of boredom and depression and a monthly dose of lunacy. At least I have the memories of Mr. Bojangles burning and Francis kicking and screaming to keep me company. Good times, good times. The end. Action Hounds unite.